Alright guys, will I do this? Will we do this? Well, we will be doing this. I like to do reactions. This won't actually be completely a reaction because I'm not seeing it for the first time. I've actually watched the Ultimate Edition twice, and now I decided to do a full movie reaction plus commentary because I have so much to talk about it. And I've come around on a lot of things, and I think I'm ready to say the L word. I love this movie. I love Batman v Superman. I've come around on it. I've come around on Man of Steel. That I thought it was okay. Now I've rewatched it, and it's so solid. It's so well crafted. So I've come around very well throughout. So what am I gonna do? First off, I understand the hate, and not just understand the reason, yeah, the movie's not what people expected, so that's the hate. I also understand where the hate comes from. It's because, well, Snyder's wife said that people don't like to see their heroes disconstructed. It makes a lot of sense, and some people are not okay with that because they think it's simplification of what happened, but in the core, that's the case. And some people are complaining that they didn't actually construct the character, so it's not a disconstruction. Well, it is a disconstruction of what is established. So and I understand that from that point that yeah, people really don't like to see Batman doing this. People really don't like to see Superman doing this. So added to that, a very difficult to follow story, it will become completely difficult for people to get behind. So I understand the hate now in a way that I didn't before. But of course I still think that there is mob psychology involved, and there is hate for the sake of hate. For those people, I'm sorry, but that's how it is. And to those who are like, I see greatness in it, I suggest to simply enjoy what brings of new, which I think is way better than it would be straight adaptation of what we've seen so many times. Why can't people get new versions? I don't get it. Anywho, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do a full reaction, but as you well know, YouTube is a bitch, so I won't be able to play with you here. You need a copy, and you'll need to press play with me, and we'll see it throughout. I'm not a comic book fan, so I'm half a fan because I do like the characters so much, but I'm not an avid fan, so of course I'm more open to what's proposed in this movie than a hardcore fan who grew up reading DC and can't accept anything that isn't as great as those comics were, and this movie isn't. So anyway, I really think the theatrical version is hard to follow, and this one offers answers, and there's a lot of new cool stories, a lot more nuance to some facts that we already seen, so it'll be a lot of fun. So put your headphones on, probably already wearing it. So I'll put my headphones on and I'm gonna press play, and we're gonna start it. Okay, let's do this together. I've watched the extended version of Watchmen only. I didn't watch the theatrical version. And that's definitely a Zack Snyder movie. I liked a lot Watchmen. Oops, sorry. And I see a lot of that in here. But I don't think Watchmen is a perfect movie, especially because of the end, and only that. The idea that people simply would turn around and happily ever after, it was so pathetic, it ruined the whole movie for me, even though the rest was so fantastic. Let's go. So you see, that's definitely a Zack Snyder, and people who say Zack Snyder can't direct is so stupid. He has a mood, and he has an incomparable talent with image. And this is definitely a Zack Snyder. I love the subtle title. It's not a big Avengers Age of Ultron. It is a subtle Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I like that. This is definitely a Zack Snyder movie. And his talent with image really resembles to me, of course to not the same extent, Lars von Trier. His talent with mood and his control of the shot is fantastic. But I think Lars von Trier has a more, I would say, soulful work. I mean, Zack Snyder is incredibly superfluous at times and shallow, so that's my only beef with him. He can be so shallow. I mean, I will never forgive him for Sucker Punch. So again, we're seeing the birth of Batman, and it's very theatrical, it's very comic booky, because that's how Zack Snyder does it. And it's very well done. I think it's worth showing. If people think it's not, I think he's not only paying homage to a comic, but he's establishing this Batman. The soundtrack, though, I don't know if I like it. The Martha theme. This is beautiful, as we all know. It's an homage. I don't know if I like it. This it's hard to track to give sound to a scene like that. But I don't know if I like this one. It's too Snydery. Too Snyder for its own good. I can't believe people are so... I mean, this means something, and that's not just save Martha. It screams to him because this was a scarring moment for this Batman. So really, if you say that name, he will stop. It doesn't mean he will help you. It means it will shock him because it's a crucial moment for him. You see, it's I don't know about this side of the origin. If he had ever had contact with bats and fell in love with bats. Of course, this isn't real. He said right after, in the dream they took me to the light. A beautiful lie. Affleck is an amazing voiceover. But this, of course, is an envisioning of him becoming the Batman, but it's not what really happened, of course. And I liked it. I think it's poetic. I think it's worth it. But of course, it's kind of from someone who's obsessed with Batman and wants to make him as much as poetic and awesome and epic as he can, and that's what Snyder did here. Beautiful eye. I love this, and it's so unfair that they didn't trademark the movie, and that's the point. The movie trades identity a lot of times, which I guess is fair because it's Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. This, let's face this is amazing, and people, it sucks so much that people doesn't pay attention to this, but this is not, I don't think there's one footage here from Man of Steel, but every shot is redone from a different angle in complete sync with the events. Of course, if you play together, it won't go together, but the scenes, the crucial scenes that are done here and happen there, they are exact, they are mathematically exact. This happened there just from another angle. It's amazing, and it's a good layer, because it's my one beef with Man of Steel is that people didn't seem to care that all of that happened. I mean, Lois kissing Superman simply was out of nowhere. It's so cheesy in the movie. The movie didn't need that. And later on, the woman saying Superman is hot, and when millions of people died, it ruined it. Just like the end of Watchmen took me out of everything it had built. Man of Steel did that too. I love this. This happened from a complete different angle in Man of Steel. That was amazing. And it's done completely equal here. But look who was there. It's a very difficult situation because we could never know how to react with this. This also happened from a different angle. I love it. It's gonna get sucked in the black hole. And we see Bruce Wayne acting, and people were not that happy with Lex Luthor in this movie, even after the Ultimate Cut. I liked him a lot in the theatrical cut. In this one, I'm like, I adore him. Although I hate the character. This is amazing. It's Zod, and it's, again, different angle, same event. It's really good. And we did not know, I at least, that was the Wayne building. That's crazy. Again, I'm not a comic book fan, so the knowledge I gather here is from outside the comics, like internet really. And I do think that someone who's not experienced in that, I love the randomness of this, someone who's not familiar will be very lost in a lot of times in this movie. But I mean, was this movie made for them? I really like this edition. It's a little bit of what were people doing, and again showing what's going on with humans. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. He's such a piece of shit. I mean, he didn't become a piece of shit. I mean, I think he was already a piece of shit before the event. And it just made him more pissed. There you go. He's clearly becoming more and more Batman, transforming the Bruce Wayne in Batman in this. I mean, Ben Affleck is rocking it, man. I love this. Completely summarizes why does he not like Superman? It's amazing. Another great angle of something that happened. And Ben Affleck's acting, the shot, and it completely makes us get, oh, that's why a lot of people didn't like it. Didn't understand why, but here we go. And here's the thing, I love the shot. It's so random. I mean, I think it's such a weird place to take the movie, but I do like that the 18 months later show up. Thank you, somewhere in the Indian Ocean, and these cuts that the movie does from place to place, that subtitles should stay more in the movie, because it would have helped us to not be so lost a lot of the times. And I like this. The Indian Ocean, where the other spaceship was, that was making that gravitational pull. And there they found this rock. And I like this guy, and I like that he asked for rocks, and everybody's giving him rocks, but it's not what he wants. And they found him what he needs. Here you go, another extended little bits. Where I get this, or get a little more of this guy, and people were pretty pissed. Like, oh my God, Zack Snyder just added him to. I mean, did you see? I mean, we were just in the Indian Ocean. We had not one line. It's really hard to follow because now we're in Africa. Why? You know, it's hard if you're not really invested. So I get why people were lost. Still, I'm not. I'm going with it. And people were really pissed that Zack Snyder added this guy, and he was substantially well known in the comics. And he was killed in this movie, and Zack Snyder said that it was fun. It was just a fun thing to put there. And people, of course, fanboys, but of course it didn't mean fun as it was fun to kill him. It was fun from a narrative perspective, and of course it's a character they couldn't develop in such a huge universe, so he just gave him that little part just so he could pay homage to the character in the comics, even though it was in a very dark way. Oh, here we go to this guy. And here we find out that, well, Lex, you're doing a bit much, aren't you? I'm really impressed with how Lois gets everywhere. I mean, this little paper that says, I'm a journalist, gets her in so many places, and she likes that, and that's what makes Superman such a follower of her, such a stalker of her, because she's in constant dangers, and she likes it, and I think it adds to the character. I like Lois Lane since Man of Steel. I like Man of Steel a lot. The characters, they are more likable there than in Batman v Superman. They're a bit colder here. Let me see. No principle. No one is different. No one is neutral. I know a lot of the other lines don't bother because I watched this movie a couple of times. I'm crazily obsessive because it's so hard to follow. It excites me to watch it over and over again. It's a problem. This version is not that much, but it's great because it's long and it gets us in, if you're willing. And here we go. So he was using Lois as a cover, and that's not great. I don't know if I like this though. Of course, we get it that they were with him, but we all expected the answer for did Superman do it? I knew he didn't, but we wanted the audience wanted a clear answer, and they threw it in. In the original cut, they had another plot with these guys. That's crazy, and that's the problem. Sometimes, not all the time. Most of the time it's just enough, but sometimes it's a little bit of stuff, overstuffed, oversimple things. The plot. Of course, the press is coming. And And that's the thing. We all knew Superman would be here. Well, the Lex Luthor knew because of Lois Lane. And for a while I was like, how does he know Lois has such an intimate relationship? But I mean, Man of Steel, she is known in the whole world as the girlfriend of Superman. So it was clearly the obvious way to get Superman there by Luthor's math. It's always this simple. So he got his people there, where he knew she would be. And of course there's this pyromaniac. I love that they added that. Okay. And you see, Superman did not only do good by Lois, but he saved the people that would be nuked. He just wants to make sure that he's gonna be here in time. And this is the bad director Snyder. This is fantastic. Here we go, another fantastic shot. And here we go. So yeah, there was chaos there. And Lois and Superman, if you will, instead of Clark, they are still so connected that, as she comes to realize later, it's not good for neither of them. Really like this. And Lois is still there. That's why she shared a moment of doubt, like, did he do it? Oh my god, look at this. How did the noise? Like, the sky cracked open. I love the plot that develops from her. So many dead. This woman is here, so Lex can make sure that the other one is in the park. And I love the little plot that people won't notice of this little girl. She's amazing. No one has asked what he should do. I love this actress so much. So much. Her role, her character. Was responsible. Where did this God analogy come from? Here we get a little bit more background of this conflict between Gotham and Metropolis. Gotham is the underdog, the dirty cousin, and Metropolis is not only a city rebuilt, but it clashes completely with the reputation of Gotham. I like that. I like that. Says a lot, and I love the idea that these cities are neighbor cities. Of course, it's completely artistic liberty, and I enjoy it. I think it's forward for the plot, and it helps the universe, so it's fine. And I like this little build, and I like that why does Lex Luthor hold so much power over the government or influence in the Senate? Well, he rebuilt Metropolis. The guy, he has a huge part, so he's built himself as the incredibly good guy that helped undo the doom that Superman did. So it's not that incredibly out of character, out of logic for him to have so much influence. And here we go to the presentation of where this man is today. And here we go. This is definitely something that fans will also be like, oh my god, Superman isn't saving a woman from being hit by a car. He's saving sex slaves. He's saving human trafficking victims. So I love this layer of darkness and real world grit and realism that the movie has that some people are unwilling to admit. Still, I don't think he should carry these bats around though. It's completely comic booky to have bats there as a sign. And here we go to branding. Branding is an interesting idea, and I think it worked very well for this plot. And again, Lex Luthor's on it. And here we go. This is so disgusting. I love it. This is so out of this world, and it's ridiculous that he judges Superman to be such evil when he is clearly of the same place. He's doing stuff that he shouldn't, and he's a vision. He's almost a legend. So the fact that they convincingly made Batman so against Superman, even though he was so similar to him in a sense, it was pretty amazing. And this brand thing, okay, some people don't seem to understand the branding thing, and it's a big development in the end. This is the mark of where Batman is now. That's what he does, and the idea that people that he brands as being killed in prison, I like it, and I think it's interesting that he won't kill them, but he will not stop branding them just because they will get killed in prison. He's fine with it, and their sins are unforgivable. And it's interesting because it shows that it's clearly a little shade of that character from Watchmen with an amazing mask. Snyder did make Batman a softer version of that, because that guy is brutal, even more so. So I do like it. I think it was a little bit of Snyder trying to get the stuff he likes into Batman, but I think it worked, especially because it's not a complete version. It's a phase of Batman. He's just in this place, but he will get out of it. That's great. I love this. I love this scene in the bath. I think it's human, it's intimate, and it's see, she doesn't completely trust what happened, and I think the bullet thing worked pretty well, especially in the ultimate cut. It was a little bit, how is she getting those things? But in here it's clear, it's better. I love it. And here comes the big deal. it is impossible for Superman to have a girlfriend. And I think this resolution, I don't completely buy it, but I do buy it in the sense that it's an easy way out. Let's just be a little romantic to get out of this place. Let's do it. And then, I mean, let's forget about it for now, and then it works. And I think it, especially because they're in this the beginning of the relationship, so they're like, let that be. Let's just do it. I like that. And like it or not, it is important to give the. I thought the shot of the glass with the water falling on it was so good. I thought it was so creative. I don't know if I like the extended that showed that they were there humping each other. No, but still, I think it's important for them to be sexualized in a sense, because that shows that their relationship is not just being together. They were like together. Alfred really does work here. And Batman works greatly. And it's amazing how he introduces to this scenario. And it feels so real. It's like, yeah, that's where Batman would be at this time in his life. But this I don't like much. That's one of the problems in the script. They're saying names, they're saying events, they're saying places, objects, and they're not speaking clearly. We're not getting what's happening. I didn't at the first time. This is a man who knows things. I need to follow him for the white Portuguese. The white Portuguese is what I get, this and that and that. Wasn't that clear? And dirty bomb. But it wasn't clear that it wasn't what he wanted. But you see, that's the problem. If they fixed this and a couple of other dialogues that could be more clear, we'd have a complete sync between us and them. This is a scene where we watch them and admire them, but not what they're doing. I, at least. Of course, this is me. And this, I think it's important. I don't think it was completely well done, but it was definitely the best part of this dialogue. It shows how this changed. That turns good man, Batman, cruel, the current Batman. And this is amazing! I just love it so much. Oh my god, Senator Finch and him and that assistant is just the light of my life in this movie. Good, that's good. Help me. You see, this woman, she really enjoys working for Lex Luthor, the assistant, and it's amazing how she's with him all the time. You can see, and from a time we realize that not only does she knows things, she likes what she knows. What does a rock has to do with Homeland Security? I love how she's not buying it. and she can see, why is Lex so obsessed with this? There must be something wrong here. Profound biodegradation, decaying Kryptonian cells. Wheel! Bam! So he shows this, and he wants the government to be on his side, so he asks for an import license. And you see, she likes what he's talking about. But they're not on his side, he's just gonna get it. I love this little analogy for him, Blue Planet. Oh, yeah. So, but there are more of them. Yes. And look how she gets it. We don't have to depend upon the kind so much. Okay, people don't buy this Lex Luthor as an image, and I like this. She did not give in, and she did not give him what he wanted. But the other guy's in. He's like, Lex has ideas. I like it, so I'm gonna give it to him. And this cut, I think it's amazing. This structure, and I think the problem is that the movie overdid it. The idea that they're talking in real time, future event is gonna come in for a cut. This is a fantastic, by the way. This little cover they did over the, it's like, it's so the government to not leave it to the public eye. They're gonna cover it, and this gives this layer of reality that it's amazing. So, event from the future jumps in, and then we jump back to the past. It moves the plot forward. I love this shot. It's very well shot. It's very neat, and it's very a little time for Lex Luthor, and the soundtrack for him is amazing. So it's the same thing of people not wanting something that they don't feel like it's a good again, jump to the present, like it's a good representation of their characters, but I couldn't imagine a better version for this than this Lex Luthor. Seriously, a business guy would be so fucking boring. And again, she's there. She is in the whole process, and she's enjoying it. That's amazing. So, to have this Luthor who's obsessive and who's so powerful and who's so smart and who's planning for so long, it's like, I mean, you really have to be an asshole to not only don't like it but discredit it. It really sucks. And this is a really weird scene, but I think that's exactly the point of it. He's like, we're on the same page. It's a new addition. To look in his eye, somehow he decides which lives count and which ones do not. Well, and here we go. It's the whole progression of Superman in this movie, who in the Ultimate Cut has a more fluent little journey to his big end, and it's way more clear here. He's really being put to test. Why does he need to exist? He shouldn't exist. That's the point. He's not a 100% good change in society, and again, the world is not happy with him, and of course he's not gonna be like, oh wait, let me defend myself. He'll actually try to understand it and be like, oh, maybe that's true. And this guy again is being an asshole. It was so cool how especially in the beginning, the promotional material for the movie did sync so well. They didn't waste time like, false god. We knew what he was gonna write because of the amazing first promo that actually does justice to the movie, that showed the great false god trailer teaser. Another little script sign of why Gotham is not that great compared to Metropolis. another big shocker for Clark. He really... And the people from the Daily Planet are like really intimate. That's why the Daily Planet is so behind Superman. And it's nice to see their... Oh, here we go, Clark is here. And to see their involvement and from the rest of the press, because you get the real world politics going on. And I like this little nod. Here we go, let's go to Gotham to find out. He's not gonna pursue what he's supposed to. He's going to look for the woman in the Senate, and then he crosses paths with the idea of Batman. He's angry and he's hunting. This is clearly one of those scenes that's like so Snyder. It's like let's show how how Batman is, what he's willing to do to get what he think it's right done, and that comes with the killing too. But it's completely convoluted. Him pursuing this guy. At this point, I still don't know why he needs him, and neither does he. That this guy's main point of motion is Lex Luthor. Here we go. He found out about Batman. He feels like he should talk about it. This guy is amazing. I love how he doesn't waste time moving his head. He just looks at him. He's amazing. It's like a little white terrorist in Gotham fighting crime. I mean, it's Gotham. I think that's the point. Coach, you see, she doesn't have the answer, she's looking for it, and his word isn't quite enough. She needs proof, and I like that, and I like that he confronts her that he has to be after all the time after her because she's always putting herself in danger. Oh, again, the assistant is there, and this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Because I love these two characters. And I love this scenario, and I love this place, and I love this filming, and I love the writing. Kentucky Mash was the secret to health. This was his role. Left it just the way you like. love how he's playing the little boy and she doesn't fall for him. I'm blocking the import license for a mineral. And he's like, okay, you won't follow. Okay. And then he gets to actual talk, to actual philosophical talk, like, you know that what I'm saying is true, that he is a danger. And this psychological thing. And she's there to double down, to answer. You can come wherever you like. Take a bucket of piss and call it Granny's bitch tea. Take a weapon of assassination and call it deterrence. You won't fall fire me. I'm not gonna drink it. And he's like, he is impressed. But to him it's really not something definitive. He's just gonna find a way to bring her, to take her out of the equation. Amazing philosophy, and I love how she does. Devils don't come from the beneath the snow. They come from the sky. I love this scene to death. I wish there were more of them. That's why I like Lex, and that's why I like Senator Finch, and I'm so... and we jump to one that's not one I like the most. I don't like the visions of Batman. I think it doesn't make sense. He's human. He's not a supernatural being. If Wonder Woman were having these visions, if they inserted Green Lantern, I don't know. But Batman having them, it simply doesn't make sense from human. He's the only one of the few actual humans in the Justice League. Why is him having supernatural visions? It took me out of the movie a bunch of times, and although the scene is very well shot, it's very beautiful, and Zack Snyder again is amazing, I don't like the content though. And again here they're reinforcing how he still isn't over Martha Wayne, so it has that narrative sublinear shit. Sublinear tone to put in there. I love this. You see, there's a woman there. So he is the Batman, Bruce Wayne womanizer against the dark Batman, but he isn't in that such a lavish way as was the Dark Knight in Bale's Batman. I like that. It differs, and it shows that, again, he's older, he's not that much of a player anymore. And Alfred is like so subliminally trying to tell him, dude, get a life, stop at this Batman, but he won't stop. He's really obsessed. At this point he's more obsessed with this Batman persona that it's hard for him to get away from, and that's why I like that shower scene that will come up later. You don't need a suit for everything. See? Bruce Wayne won't have to. He's been invited. I love it. Lex is just so well informed about everything. And I love this. You see, there's this long confrontation of him trying to separate himself from the bat suit. And he's looking in there, I'm Bruce now. And here comes the shower scene that people say it's gratuitous. Some people are saying It's ridiculous. And stop looking at nude scenes as gratuitous or not. Just try to figure out what they are. And here we go. He's showering off Batman. He's trying to shower off the persona and become Bruce Wayne. And I think it's important for, even though it's short, it says something. And here we go. I'm Bruce now. Here you go to this timeless feel of old cars in the modern day. I think it's hard to tell because as I enjoy the tone of the movie a lot, I love this event in this movie, this little Lex party, where everybody gets in. Mr. Lex Luthor. And he's such a weirdo that everybody loves, and I love it. And I also love him for that. When he gets too mean. And I love that she rejects the drink a lot of time in the movie. That's how tough she is and how rigid, how determined she is with what she is. I love this little speech. I like this a lot, and that's when he found out he was Batman. Oh, that's unfair. And she's so pissed because she's like, ugh, you don't know what you're talking about. Those little things that are amazing and really are for those who actually know these characters. And here she is. This girl is actually looking after Luthor. She actually is with him. I love it. And Clark wasn't such a good reporter to get down there with him. But the girl was. Well, he wasn't that after him still yet. I love how he can still convincingly play the little drunk middle-aged guy. Love this party. To me, it could last like 10 minutes. I don't think it does. And if it does, I think it could last 15. And knowledge is power. And I'm... What does I say? No. The bittersweet pain among mankind is having knowledge without power. Because that's paradoxical. That's an amazing description of this Lex Luthor. If you enjoyed this like I did, you will like this Lex Luthor. If you think this was fucked up and stupid, then okay, it's not for you. And I love how she calls attention, and she knows where he went, and she's actually active about it, unlike Clark. And I think he may have figured out his Batman. And he's trying, as Clark Kent, to say, don't you think you're going too far? Aren't you being that hypocritical too, Bruce? The difference is that he thinks it's worth it. He knows that Superman and Batman. That's not why he got them here. He personally asked for Clark to be here. And he's actually interested in making an alliance with Bruce Wayne. Good. And here she is. And to talk about the senator, I hoped so much it would be a little scene between the senator and him in here, but it's cool that they make her this presence, this constant presence, in that he is interested in. He's like, Senator, where are you? But I mean, it's his party, it's Lex Luthor, so he's gotta be in control of everything. And here we go. Not sure why she knew he got that there, but I like that he made sure he knew it was her, but then got away. And this is amazingly shot. Look at this camera. We don't know what he's looking at until the camera comes and we see exactly what he's seeing, and it's such a weird, enticing figure. Just want to stop looking at him. It's amazing. But I love how silent she is. And you see, again, she made sure she was getting away, and it was her. I love that Superman, Clark Kent, felt the need to do that, and that shows he's trying, man, he's trying. And I love this little montage. It's so grounding. Again, that thing, will you buy it? I don't know. I bought it, and I love they brought real people in there. It makes it more real, it makes it more grounded, and it's like, who is this guy? It's TV, it's the media about him. I love it. And this is a very powerful image. And I need to touch it. I need to touch him, and he looks so inhuman. I'm gonna make it obey all rules. This is amazing. I mean, it's a political act. The most powerful man in the world should be a figure of controversy. Should be up on us. One of the genius parts of the movie is really this montage. It's amazing. He's not some sort of devil or Jesus character. Maybe he's just a guy trying to do the right thing. A being whose very existence challenge our own sense of priority in the universe. And that take us back to Copernicus, where he restored the sun at the center of the known universe, displacing Earth. And that goes to the Iranian Revolution. We're not special on this Earth, we're just one among other life forms. And now we'll find out. We're not special in the entire universe, because there is Superman. There he is. An alien among us. We're not alone. This is amazing, and this again, Snyder. Superman could have saved your child, but on principle, we did not want him to act. I'm saying he shouldn't act unilaterally. Fantastic answer. There is. And that's when I got from the first feeling, wow, this is Superman in our world. Even though it gets a little bit too cynical in the middle. I hate this word to describe it, but it gets a little too mean. But at this point it's like, there's nothing we can do about it. And to him, I love this scene. I can't believe they cut it. It's him, well, should I exist then? It's amazing. I I do think it was not perfectly written. They really should have written a better material for Superman in this movie, even though his journey to me is amazing and should stay the same. I love this. I love it, love it. Goes so well. Because Lois couldn't do this by her own. And it's entertaining and informative at the same time, and I love how John Malone did it. That makes her such a good reporter. Stuff like this just shocks you. And I think it's a very nice little add to the movie. And again, later it pays up big time. This I can't believe they cut too. This is why he's actually growing this little anger with Batman. This guy has to stop. He's not so different from the evil he fights every day. Let's do that too. The people with the brand will die, and Superman is not happy with that. And again, a little shadow of Lex Luthor here. And I love how he looks like Batman from behind the wheelchair. Look at that. To help you stand for something. And again, not at all written. And again we go to the amazing senator. And this guy who's an asshole. I mean, I'm not saying that he didn't suffer. I'm saying that there are people who to whom these things do happen, and they can choose to try to do the best out of it, to see it in a better light. But he doesn't. He just mourns for himself, and he's pissed. He's trying to blame someone for it. He has someone to blame for it, and this is also amazing. Who is the reason branded asses get killed? Lex Luthor, and he's made sure Clark knows about it. So I mean, of course, people think that's too much for Lex. I think it's a sign that he's a maniac with a purpose. And this is amazing. It's horrifying. It's amazing. And here we go. I don't know about this though. It has a connection to Man of Steel. It does work from a narrative standpoint, but at this point, where she did conclude a good part of her investigation, but now she's doing the next step, which is to go to another person and to go further and further into it. And I think it got a little far here. But still, it makes sense from a narrative standpoint. And I think that's interesting. Lois does spend the movie trying to defend Superman, trying to get the honor of her boyfriend back. And I think that is, people say that in a little demeaning way. But just because it's about Superman doesn't mean she's not doing the right thing. And she's doing it right. Her plot in this movie does mean something, and I like it. And it means for her as a character, she finds out the truth with the smallest things. That's really good. That's Lois Lane. I don't know about this. I love Jon Stewart. I think it could be a little bit better written, because I think it doesn't bring us to the point as well as in the show it does. And I love how now we go to, and I love he takes a little drink, he gives to Diana. Diana takes it, and then she like drops it. She's really such a purist. And I love her wardrobe. I think it gets a little bit over the top at times, but it just makes her unique in the way that the movie wants to make her. And it's so, I mean, I love where Diana, I mean, they're all in different places. Superman is in the very beginning of his journey. He's very immature, he's very inexperienced in the real world trouble. Superman is in this old, tired, brutal, tired and frustrated place in his life. And Diana is in the same way, but she's also more hardened about society, and she's also given up in a way that I've done a little while ago, so that's interesting. She's trying to get rid of Wonder Woman. She doesn't care to, she doesn't demean as worthy of her hard work, especially because we won't stop, you know, and that's what I found interesting, and I agree with, is that the world won't stop doing evil stuff even if you try to stop it. It's so interesting where she is in her life. She's like, she got money because she's gonna live forever. She's been around for 100 years. So she's made herself rich and she's walking around big parties and exhibitions and trying to live a simple life in this place. Simple. And now, again, I love the way it's done, but I hate the content. Again, love this thing. You put a 1%, it's going incredibly slow, but when we come back, it's a 90%, so we were like, oh my god, how much time was I out? Oh, I know. That was amazing. But I hate the vision. I hate the nightmare. It's well filmed, it's well done. I think the content, it's so... that, especially, I mean, I was lost in the cinema. I was lost in theater. I was lost, but especially when I was watching this with my sister. She's not a fan, she just watched Man of Steel and she loved it. So I was like, oh my god, I have to watch Batman v Superman. And then in scenes like this, I had to be like, okay, ignore this you won't get it anyway. So, I mean, it's a vision of the far future, and that in the ground is the symbol of an alien. And now he's gonna go to a van to get something that he doesn't want in the future, he wants in the past, the kryptonite. But in there isn't a kryptonite. And then there is soldiers from Superman out there who are trying to give him the kryptonite from LexCorp. So Superman and LexCorp are working together. I mean, it's such a mess, and it's well intentioned. It's really like, okay, this is the future he's trying to stop, and this is the vision. And I love Flash's cameo. I think it's amazing, the vision that comes next. Although I also think Bruce shouldn't have visions. It's completely out of place. But that shouldn't come off as a vision like he did, like he woke up after it. It should happen in reality. But this here, to me, is unforgivable. It's very well shot. love the design, I love the work, and it's interesting. Like, he's in the very far future, so he's even more brutal. He's killing people willy-nilly, and but still, it's such a what the fuck scene. It's like, okay, I'm going to the far future where everything is destroyed to get kryptonite for something from the past, where Lex Luthor is giving it to me, but when I look back, they're Superman soldiers. It's so convoluted. It's really the one part of the movie, but it's like, okay, I guess that for other people this is the whole movie. It's completely, you really have to know your stuff to get this. And I don't think it's a particularly exciting action piece. It's very well filmed, but we go. Batman isn't doing that great of a job, and it's also, if it was an actual nightmare, he wouldn't be able to beat anybody. I like that he lost. That's the side of nightmare. Actually, we never win in a nightmare. We never have strength. We never can kill. But this isn't just a nightmare. This is a vision of the future. It's tough, but I do like how it escalates. It's again very well shot, very well done, incredibly unnecessary to me. I mean, we don't need to know these things yet. They're gonna come in the Justice League. It's fine. The film sometimes tries to do too much, and here we get this mean Superman. And then I'm like, okay, his nightmare is that Superman actually became what he fears. The guy who's able to destroy everything, and he will. That part I can buy, of the nightmare, actually. And then when we come to reality, we see Flash saying to him, "You're right about him. You've always been right about him." It's so convoluted because that's not what we get at all, and I don't know. I love the cameo of Flash. I don't know if I like what he says though. She was my world. We don't know who he's talking about. We imagine it's Lois. And again, Lois is dead, so he's pissed. And now he's mean. Okay. I only found out about this later. But here we go. I love this helmet. It's Lois. It's Lois Lane. She's the key. Am I too soon? Oh, and Ezra is so amazing in this. I'm too soon. You're right about him. You've always been right about him. Fear him. Find us, Bruce. You have to find us. I love this. But then, was this also a dream? It's so fucked up. And I love that we get to 98 here. It's amazing. It's so clever. It sucks. And I love that he gets to LexCorp. He gets to find out what he wanted. But we still are not sure of what that is. All we can imagine is actually the kryptonite. And this is a good addition too in the Ultimate Cut. Lex Luthor's also playing Clark. He gives him more material to be pissed, and it works the same way it did with Batman. Of course, he can, as you can see in the end, he's not so pissed at Batman as Batman is pissed at Bruce Wayne, as Batman is pissed at Superman. But that's just a sign of how different they are and how they relate to the world. Superman is still a very forgiving person. And at this point, I would say, the white Portuguese, what? could have been made clearer. You see, so Alfred is in Superman's side, you know, he is willing to give a chance to the guy, and it sucks for him to see that the guy he's supporting is not like that. This is a good point though. Now, 20 years ago, look where we are now. And he also is talking about himself. He's not that much of a good guy anymore. But Alfred is really not in that category. And now we see more Clark Kent trying to find out about stuff. You see, it's a good point. The only protection in Gotham is the true justice. The face of justice in Gotham is the Batman. That's a turning point for Clark. He's like, okay, I think just writing about him won't change his mind. I love this. Makes us real go back to Kansas, I suppose. Son of This is an interesting sequence. The big bat mobile sequence. You see, I think this is a great point to be made here. And you see, Lex Luthor is, again, he's given up trying to get kryptonite legally, I guess. Still, those things are made that sure in the movie. So he simply decided, okay, that bitch won't let me get it in with the government approval, I'll just take it illegally and buy it from the guy who found it. Done. The guy who found it was probably in Lex's service anyway. You don't understand, Lex Luthor is really the sky in the whole movie. But a great point to be made here, LexCorp. Zack Snyder is not George Miller. And in this sequence, we see what George Miller can do and how Mad Max is not easy to be done. You realize that to make a 2-hour movie of cars running around and to not make us be lost in this car, that car, that car, 30 cars moving at the same time, and we know who is in which and how and what positions they are. We know that because that's an amazing director challenging himself and making sure the editing in that movie is something of a beauty. And in this scene, we see that, oh, yeah, Mad Max is not that easy to make, because in this scene, while it is exciting, I'm lost. I'm like, okay, where are we? Who is this? Oh, that's the Batmobile. You see, it's not Furiosa, it's not the War Rig, it's not it's not 30 cars, but yet the 30 cars from George Miller are easier to process than this, because this is hard. Chases scenes are hard to make, you know, and I don't blame Snyder for not doing a perfect job, but he filled the scene with pretty awesome stuff, and they're all throughout it. I love it. I love it. I like it. Yeah, that's and then people are like, dude, Batman didn't do that. Okay, I understand what you're talking about, but to him, what he's willing to do is too valuable to let some criminals stop him, and the life of some criminals to stop him. Even more so from someone with a bazooka, and I don't know what this is, for instance. Okay, he's... Where? Of course, if you try to make sense, you will make sense. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that it's not that easy to follow as Mad Max, because Mad Max, I mean, I'm not asking for any director to do a Mad Max, I'm just comparing. And I'm saying how hard it is. This is the Batmobile. I love how flexible it is. It's amazing. And the dude comes out of the second floor and rips the truck apart. And I love it. And I love this too. I was like, oh no. Apparently a ship can stop you, Batman. Nope. This is what Zack Snyder does. It's amazing. And yeah, he is killing. And why is he killing? Why is he doing that? He still is not like a cold-blood murderer, but he is like, okay, this for this purpose I will do it. For this I will not. You see? And I love this. This is amazing. It's like, okay, I see the Batman is acting. I will stop him face to face. And Batman's there. He's here. Let me get him. But no, of course not. And then his first contact with the actual power of Superman. He's like, let me take this mask off to see who's behind it. And there is the Batman. He's trying to speak a little different from Clark Kent because he's being face to face with him. Buried. And that sucks for him now. To bleed. At this point he realized that, no, you coming to Batman, telling him to stop, it won't stop him. And especially because Batman is like, excuse me, but you don't even know where I'm coming from. And this is amazing too, how he gets so pissed. And he... So you see, Bats gets back super pissed, and he does not succeed. That's why, but yet later he will try again. And I think it's important. People think that it was stupid of Lex to let his name in the car that it's getting the kryptonite illegally. But that's the point. He knows Bruce Wayne. He probably knows, because he knows everything. Let's just put that in your mind. Lex Luthor knows everything. He knows that Bruce Wayne that Batman will try to get the kryptonite. So what does he do? He puts his name to make sure that he knows what it is. And even if he didn't get it, he will know that it is at LexCorp. And this is amazing. Look at this. It's here, and here she comes. Love the costume design. And here he noticed. Oh, she not only knows my plan, she's interested in it too. And there's no joy in him in finding out about that. he's not happy. He's such a maniac. He's such an egomaniac. He's not happy even to share his evil plan. Even if you're interested in that, no, I'm not gonna share that with you. And I think it's interesting. She was always happy to follow him around, but and this is the first step where she was like, "Hi, I like what you're doing. I'm happy that you're doing that." But that's not what he wants. Good is a conversation, not a unilateral decision. Urge Superman to come. And you see, he didn't use the kryptonite. He was really just letting it be so Batman could get it. Of course, he fought against Batman. He told his men to fight against him. It seems amazing. But they see what you do, and they know who you are. You're not a killer. A threat. I never wanted this world to have you. Be their hero, Clark. Be their monument, be their angel. Be anything they need you to be. Or be none of it. You don't owe this world a thing. I think it's a very important message for Clark at this such a convoluted moment. This was amazing to have in the Ultimate Edition, this little ad. She was like, oh, the Lexus man is here. But what comes later of her revelation is even bigger. So, of course, Lex told his men to fight against Batman if he tried to get the kryptonite, but that's the point. Batman can't even suspect that him having the kryptonite is part of Lex's plan. But he will make sure to provoke him enough to get it. I love this. This is amazing. And this adds so much. So much. See what I'm talking about? This makes this scene so much better. The truth coming from her in half, and here coming the full. It's sucked in the Ultimate Edition. It's sucked in the theatrical edition. So here we go. We'll see now that Senator Finch, June Finch, knew so much more. She knew she not only was gonna hear Superman, she was gonna say the truth in that hearing. And Lex, weirdly enough, just like Cersei did in Game of Thrones, solved the problem by exploding and killing everyone. The easiest, most destructive way. In the middle of the desert. It was you, dummy. Of course they're gonna get Superman. I love how eventful it feels, real, like, oh my god, Superman is in the American State Senate. It's amazing. Washington DC, Superman is really here. That's a historical moment for the US government and for the world. This is such a hard scene to watch. Because you see, she notices her, but she doesn't notice him, and he notices her. I mean, it's such a Snyder thing to do. Not to paid her, he threatened her. Her parents are back home. And this confrontation is so much bigger now that he knows the truth about him. And she's talking to him normally. And there's the assistant. be sure to guard my seat in there. He's happy to take her out of the equation too, because she wanted the same thing that he wanted. Soft on security. And there she is. She's confronting him. She knows the truth about him, but she's talking to him as if she doesn't. Poor thing. He doesn't know that she knows the truth. But he knows, I think he does, but he knows that by exploding everything, that's enough to silence every possible confrontation against him. To the youth, and of course to the world. Okay, let's do this. And the hot seat in there, Jim. Foreshadowing. Not are so big. It's a Pokemon. And this is his final goodbye. And this is awful to watch too. But you see that the stakes are so much higher, and if only that wasn't the explosion, the truth about Superman would come out, and Superman and Lex couldn't stop it, but he did stop it. And again, I'm a journalist, sorry, and here we go. This is amazing. This is amazing imagery. This is I love this side of this movie. And those people are really pissed at him, and there are people that are like crazy about him. It's amazing. It's the world. Why have I seen this? And I love she's discussing. She's like, I'm gonna tell the truth to the world about what happened in Africa. But she doesn't. Lex doesn't give a chance for Superman to say a word, nor for her to elaborate. This scene is fantastic. It's incredibly powerful. And you see the assistant. I don't know her name, but you see Lex did not share this part of this plan. And she's waiting for him to come. She's looking at his seat and she's like, where is Lex? She's looking back. And she's suspicious because she's always beside him. We talk to each other. We act by the consent of the governed, sir. I have sat here before to say that shoveling interventions won't be tolerated by this committee. Where is Lex? Because today is a day for truth. But you see, this amazing peach tea, it is not as powerful as in the theatrical cut, because her line, there is the biggest interaction with Lex Luthor, really works in this scene. But now that we know that she knows the truth, it kind of loses its relevance, because it's not Lex talking to her directly anymore. Well, she's not as interested. But it does bring a lot of light. And she's like, Lex didn't come. This is amazing. It's amazing to have his name there. Oh, it's so good. And it's so realistically made. It's so heavy, so dense. It's horrible. It's a nightmare. Why didn't Superman stop a bomb from exploding in Washington? I mean, And to Bruce Wayne, this is the last drop. I won't have enough. I won't have this anymore. He needs to be stopped. And the Victims Fund document said that Luthor intercepted makes total sense. The Victims Fund? You mean the victims of the catastrophe of Metropolis that Lex Luthor completely rebuilt out of the ashes? Well, he has like total power over that, over the victims, associations, and completely overview of the government. So it does make sense for Lex to have such a influence in that zone. And I love this little revelation that he has. It's like, I can't be doing this. I can't be around making people suffer and leaving more death behind me than help. And it's an amazing point. It's amazing. It's sad that people simply don't get it. It's an amazing journey for Clark and as Superman. Being Superman simply doesn't work out. And Martha Wayne is not in the mood for talking right now. He knows that where would this take Bruce, and so did Lex Luthor. And here we go. This is very convoluted. After the explosion, we are so intensified by the destruction that seeing this is like, what? So Lex Corp exploded too? I think it should have been like one phone call saying, boss, Lex, there's been an invasion at LexCorp. That there's been an accident, an event, a situation, and then he's like, okay, I'm going to there. Then we get to this scene. It would make so much more sense. But okay, we do get that it was Batman who came here, made this whole mess because of this, among the fishes, a whale, and he left this sign. He wanted Lex to know. And Lex was very glad about that. I didn't see those. And then people are like, oh man, why is Superman so sad? I mean, he doesn't have any reason, right? Nothing happened. He's really down in this because of the things that follow him. And that's Luthor. And he's seriously considering, let's stop this. Superman let's get rid of him. It is not worth it. But that's not Lois' thing, as we realize here. I think that and here we go. You see, Luthor now is going to the Genesis chamber. This is a very convoluted. That's the scene that I'm like, okay, you know that the bat is not gonna be able to kill him. So why are you already cooking the guy, the Zod, General Zod, Doomsday? So I do feel like that he should have waited a little more from a narrative perspective to be like, okay, of course this was just one, just in case, you know, in case he survives the bad guy, this is gonna take care of him. And I do think it worked, but I do also think that it made people confused, and it made it a little bit unconvincing. But his whole welcome analysis review ship operating at 37% efficiency. Would you like to assume command? Very well. Let's begin. The Kryptonian archive contains knowledge from 100,000 different worlds. Teach me. Okay, you see, do you get that? Lex Luthor is always learning, and he always knows. And people are like, how did Luthor know that the Kryptonians can see through lead? Well, honestly, he's a very smart guy, so he probably guessed it, because he did not have access to the knowledge of the Kryptonian ship before he made the chair. But I mean, it's fucking Lex Luthor, so come on, the guy knows his shit, you know. And he probably knows that lead is such a powerful metal. We got a little bat montage. I think it's good because it shows he's not up there where Alfred thinks he is, wanted him to be, but he's obsessed. There's no Bruce Wayne anymore. And I love this little rest here. People are also really pissed. I love that he found out, oh, one of Lex's researchers are these so-called metahumans? And I was like, what now? Her? I love this. I think it's amazing to find out about the Justice League of course, through Lex is again, it's the movie's giving Lex such a brain. You either buy it completely and accept that he's the guy who knows everything, or you're like, come on, man, I'm out of here. So again, the Justice League is the Justice League exists because of Lex Luthor's research. Well, of course it could be assembled in the same way, but Lex also was the big shortcut for them. And yep, she's an odd little thing. I really like Jenna Malone's little part in this. Here we go. I love the writing in this ship. Genesis champion ready to analyze generic sample. Acknowledging presence of foreign generic material. Analyzing. I have identified the host as General Zod of Kendall. You see, so you realize that Lex Luthor knows what he's doing right now. He knows his shit. And I love how that he cries. It's such an odd... Lex Luthor is such an odd guy. And Jess is acting his fucking heart out here. In a manic way. Now look at action forbidden. It has been decreed by the Council of Krypton that no one will ever again bring life to a deformity so hateful to sight and memory, the desecration without name. And where is the Council of Krypton? Destroy, sir. Then proceed. Very well. So you see, he's really willing to create an abomination. It's really tough to tell how much under the control of Lex was Doomsday. This is complete politics. And I like that people are like, nah man, it wasn't in the theatrical cut, but I like this edition. And this is also amazing. Okay, you probably also don't buy it. This physical journey to the extremes of the world, to disappear. Some people don't like it. It completely comes in character with where Clark is right now and how he's feeling. He's came to die, and I like that. It's really what he did to go away. Bomb material. How clever. Max, you didn't do it that well here. Because he didn't make sure that he looked completely guilty alone. But so far, Lex is like out on a limb. But here's Lois, and I like it. She won't stop, and again, she was the one person to prove and to know, other than Superman, to know that she was the only one to find out that Lex was behind everything. Not even Superman did that. Superman only knew that he wasn't to blame for the Africa stuff. She not only found out about that, she found out about all the other stuff, and it's amazing because she was the reason she wasn't the reason he went to jail. He went to jail because he created Doomsday. But of course, her research added that that he was involved in all these other terrorist attacks. I like this. So you're okay with Luthor's idea? There you go. I can't believe they cut it because it's incredibly important. But not only does this make Lex's plan more viable and Superman's non-action more believable, but it also brings Lex to the actual fault here, and Superman to the innocence. I like it. The actor was really good in Man of Steel, and it was really nice to see him back. And it's a little simplistic, this dialogue, compared to the rest of the movie, but it does make sense for the character. It is a bit, I agree that it's a little bit predictable, you know. It's not like a huge original part, but it's where Clark comes back to. It's the simple farmer. This is really the Clark to himself coming to the conclusion that it is worth it to be there for Lois, and that brings the plot that if Lois dies, he goes evil. I don't like that. I don't think it's not that's like cynical and mean and stupid. It's that it's uninteresting, and it's especially to be brought up in this movie. In the future, if it happened, okay. Amounts to nothing. Exactly. Exactly. That's not only a phrase, that's his conclusion. This is the only guy I can stop who actually will make a difference for the rest of the world. And it's interesting that in the end of the movie, Batman is restored. Batman is willing to stop minor criminals. Why? He is, it's really a journey for him. He's tired. He's not willing to stop the small guys. For them, it doesn't matter anymore. And to him, Superman, not only is Superman the biggest opposite to Lex Luthor, like Lex Luthor hates him because he's the complete proof that the biggest power is possible. He is the most powerful person, and for Batman, it's like he's the biggest danger. I love this. Remember SpongeBob and in the episode where he's gonna take the trash out and he opens the door, and it's amazing the painting of the version, the nightmarish version of Bikini Bottom, and he opens the door, he goes puts the trash in the garbage and go back and closes the restaurant. Well, this is the exact real version of that, and I love. That's why I think SpongeBob is a genius. This is just that taken seriously, because that fear is real. The fear of going out at night to take your trash out, that's tough, and this is really scary. And here we go to Batman to his plan. And wow, I think it's really amazing. I completely accept that people won't think it's convincing that, after all, to see them fighting each other. Let me tell you, the movie actually made it work, and that's no easy writing task. To take these two guys and make a compelling story that will put them against each other. And in a way that's not childish, in a way that's not cartoonish, like, oh, you beat that, you are against this crime, but there was a person there that I like, oh my god, now I'm against Superman, even though he's my friend. They made a movie where Superman fights Batman, and both sides are convincingly right. It's truly special. And Luthor is the final narrative tool for that. He's the big reason. Son of a... And here we go. Honey, You see, if you get Lois, you get Superman. And Lex found out about that since Africa. The LexCorp Tower, that's beautiful. At this point, he really doesn't care if she knows. That's so weird. Lois Lane. And Jesse Eisenberg worked hard in this. It's really sad what people were making out of him. You know something about LexCorp Meadows, don't you? You did. That's not an easy task. You see the cheap excuse for him. He knows that he's psychotic, but he's found a little excuse for it. He's just too much for the world. Hey, you've killed so many people. And this is cold blood murder right here. This is just a try. Will I get Superman? I will. Let's try. Again, this felt completely out of place. It does go with the character of Lois, like she's so into him, and she doesn't know about his mother, but I guess it does go with the character. He's disappeared for a while and now he's back and he saved her. Okay. I don't know if you've realized, but Luthor is getting more and more manic towards the end, and what we see here is that he's getting the chance to speak to Superman, to tell him why he shouldn't exist. And that's why he's so manic here, because he's trying to make a point that's completely impossible to come across. Like, I will kill you, but do you know why? I'll explain why. It makes no sense. He can't accept that someone so powerful could actually be a good person. Poor Lex Luthor. Day versus night. But I'm not talking about Lois. This is really scary and I love it. He's a terrorist, he's a maniac, and he's a criminal. And he's a psychopath. Look what he's done. Love the shade. That's beautiful about this Superman suit. It's not the color, but it's alien and it's convincing what the other looks it had. And this is such a satisfaction for Lex to get him to that point. And that's completely psychotic. Mother of God! That's such a writing. Such a writing having fun. I don't like that his hair is flying so awesomely naturally and now it's okay and it sucks. So, you see, oh man, by the way, the costume design in this movie is fantastic and I love the playboy look of Lex Luthor. All this grey, all these white shoes, this cool little hippie hair, more of a hipster hair. It's adorable how every character has a look and the costume design is special for the movie. Every character you can see that they're wearing like exaggerations of our clothes. His assistant too had also this feature of clothes that look kind of fashion, but it's actually so exaggerated for the sake of the character. Goes also for Wonder Woman. She's always wearing a piece of metal in her outfit. That's like sorry, that's like an armor is always with her. It's amazing. And you see the ship is, see the metal? The ship is right across from the Daily Planet, so it's really interesting to see their perspective on it. Another nitpick by people: why didn't Wonder Woman come to save the world when Metropolis was dying? Well, my guess is that she probably was gonna, but Superman saved it in time. She was in France at that point, wasn't she? She's just in the city for a moment nowadays. And you see, this is a very powerful conclusion. I love this. These stupid humans that just take care of my life. And it's just like, okay, is it worth it for me to go into there? And Doomsday is the final proof for her that, okay, I need to stop this. Oh, I love this. Okay, people don't like this, and I like that she wasn't she didn't just go to her email, she was researching these power surges. But then we got this weird email from Bruce Wayne. Holy shit, he found me out. By the way, from this moment on, from the moment she reads the email to the end of the movie, it's to me amazingly well-paced action. We have Superman versus Batman. We have first I have the cameos. I have Superman versus Batman. Then we go to Doomsday. It's like this completely 20 minutes long action sequence. They're very well balanced with the rest of the world observing it. It makes for 1 hour. I mean, we had 2 hours of dialogue, we had 2 hours of big events. But then we have 2 hours of these amazing action set pieces. And here we go. I love this. It's so well done. And the amount of personality that he puts in this is amazing, because I think he comes natural for it. He's like, and he doesn't do much, but he does so much. It's really good. And then we go to the Aquaman. I really think the design improved recently. I think out of the water he looks better, but it's an amazing take on Aquaman. Well, I never even, this character we're never even like, oh, Aquaman is like the guy in the water, right? I saw the fishes going, come on. This is amazing. It's an amazing surprise. I think it's amazing to have the Justice League, the skeleton of the Justice League, to be this weird research by Lex Luthor sent to her through email. Okay, you hate the email, you hate this setup. Well, I think it's pretty modern, and it's, again, the film, although it is a narrative tool, it is pretty realistic, and it is concise with this world, especially our world. It's meant to be realistic, so it's an email. But I think it is also convoluted for those. My sister was like, "What's going on?" And I did explain to her, saying, "Oh, she's seen. See, those people Lex Luthor found out about them. They're gonna form the Justice League." I like it. And to me, this is the final proof that this movie cares about Lois. We not only did bother to give the entire investigation over Luthor's officialization of Luthor's guilt, her plot, but I mean, she was there. Of course, she had to be there with Superman in his last moment, but she was there to stop this fight. She was there to get rid of the weapon that was gonna kill him too. And she did. I mean, I think they give her so much to do in this end. I was impressed. And here we go. You're like, why? Just say for him to save my mother. And first, he's so pissed at Batman. That this guy is such a fucking tough nut that he won't get anything in his head. He's like, okay, let me just show you something first, and then I'll tell you why you have to help me. And then people are like, ugh, why didn't you just say save Martha? First, if he said, hey, I have to stop, I have to save a woman from being killed, and he was like, hey, Batman, what would Batman do? You save a lot of people, don't you? Let me show you something. That was gonna be the case. And why does he say Martha instead of my mother? Well, I don't know if you know that, but Superman still is trying to be an anonymous person. He doesn't want to say, hey, that's my mother. You see, so if you said, if you go to her, she's gonna reveal you the identity of Superman. He had to pretend that he was just trying to save a woman, and that's why it was so hard for him to convince Superman. Because if it was just to save a woman, it would be just Superman being Superman, and Batman hates that. But to try to convince him to save his mother, it would be too personal for him to reveal. That's why it was hard for him. And that was Lois in the end who decided, okay, that's his mother's name. She revealed it. Superman didn't. Oh, that stuff. And it's hard for us. It's hard for us because we know that this guy didn't do anything. And we know that Batman is badass, and Batman gets the right to do this. So we're like, oh, and that's why people walked out of the movie so disappointed with this scene. Because they thought it was going to be, oh, awesome, Batman fighting Superman. But the movie gave it such a... emotional weight that it wasn't pleasurable to watch. It's just devastating to see these two people both trying to do the right thing, fighting each other. It is dazzling and it is entertaining, but it's not pleasurable. And that's why so many people are like, oh, Batman and Superman fighting was I was like, so why did they need to do that? And that's the point. That's what Snyder wanted to do. It's a dark movie, and it's not about making you cheer for Superman and Batman fighting. You should feel bad about it. And I can see him. It's really good how the sound and the slowness of the camera make you realize, oh, he's back. Okay. This is amazingly shot. And this is amazing. This is amazing. And there you go. Why is Superman so pissed? Not only does he know that Batman won't listen, but he now is like completely pissed. He's like gonna get him to sleep before talking. On paper, Batman fighting Superman sounds really awesome, but if you're gonna be realistic about that, if you're gonna bring a reason, if you're gonna bring the reality to it, no one wants to see that. And that's why so many people walked out of the movie realizing that, oh no, it wasn't nice to see them fighting each other. But the way the movie made it make sense was fantastic. It's a dark movie for that, and this is especially painful. It's like, don't do this, man, don't do this, man. He's really weak. He really doesn't deserve it. Oh my goodness. By the way, Henry Cavill chest hair, it's really distracting. How it comes out of here at times, it's really distracting. Just a side note, super. To see Superman weak, it's so weirdly pleasurable. You see that sometimes the suit is real, sometimes it's CGI, right? In the CGI, the movement is much more fluid. In reality, it is clunky because it's a fucking armor. And I really like how the writing here is really good. Why Batman came to this. It's not only revolted, but he's disappointed in the world and realized that the world only makes sense if you force it to. It's really telling. And again, Ben Affleck, it's like selling this. And in the Marta scene, which I'm not gonna laugh at if you're wondering, I will take it seriously and I will show why it works. To me at least. Lois is there to save the day. I will explain one great thing about it on Ben Affleck and why does he say you're letting him kill Martha? Lex Luthor is killing an anonymous Martha. She's not related to me because I'm Superman, I'm not Clark Kent. And it's Lois that finally comes and say, it's his mother. And that not only does that humanize Superman, but added to the shock, this rage is amazing, but added to the shock of realizing that it was his mother, Look at this transformation. This is just a shock. This doesn't mean he likes Superman now. And you see, and he's like, save who? But this is what I think gave no favor to this scene. To cut back to the beginning, it was very cheap. It was a little bit cheap. But I think this was the only shot that needed to be done. No man saying Martha, just her. That would bring us back. It was just that. But you see, the rage of him being reminded of that in such a moment, it really stops, it shocks Batman. But there's no, I'm on your side now. And now, and it's amazing what Ben Affleck does here. Because there's a whole process. First he's shocked, and now he's looking back at what he's done, and now he's seeing him. Am I killing Martha right now? Am I killing my mother? And he regrets, and he sides with Superman in this, and he's wearing a mask, and yet he acts that. And he's like, what am I doing? And he stops. And he sees what he's done. Do you see what they've done in that scene? It wasn't perfect, I think, because of the flashback. I think Ben Affleck did a great job. The writing could have been a little better, but flashing back to the guy saying Martha was really cheap in a way that it didn't need. I think the collar and the gun was the way to go. But it doesn't make the scene impossible and bad. Go to the ships. Go to the ship, it sucks. And to Batman, it's really important for him to save Martha, to save himself from what he's done. And it's a great redemption for him. You know, and he rescues Batman by rescuing Martha. It's really good. We're getting now into my favorite action. Well, I do like Superman and Wonder Woman versus Doomsday, but this is really the one scene where Zack Snyder is like, "This is my Batman, bitch," and it's an amazing sequence. And you see, he's like, and this is also the Batman of today. He's not still redempted. He's not still back to the old Batman. He's like, I will kill you because I'm going to save something that's far too important for me to let you stop me. And that's why he's not, he doesn't feel remorse by killing those people that's trying to stop him from getting Martha burned alive. This is so Zack Snyder. Because it's such comic booky and still really good. It's amazing. Okay, that's Batman, bitch. And you see, he just stopped them. But if they're now willing to kill him, he'll just give it back in the same coin. It's an amazingly done sequence. I still don't think Zack Snyder is the best editor. He's not a George Miller action, but he has a direction in the action that is amazing. By the way, it's George Miller's wife who edited Mad Max Fury Road. And man, did that woman work? Because that movie, it's easily the best edited movie ever made, especially in action. Holy mother, Batman! This is amazing. He's so invulnerable. The way he shot right here, that's fantastic. Because it shows that he can't be that stopped like that, and that's what makes it a hero. This is amazing. He's really angry, in case you don't notice. In case you're like, oh, come on, this is not my Batman, look what he's doing. Well, he is really angry that these people can kill that woman. It's not gonna stop until she's saved. He's really pissed. Man, you don't want Batman pissed at you. Okay. It's so Batman Snyder. And here we go. How could Batman kill? Ugh. It's like this guy was an innocent person. He didn't deserve to die. It's so great to see him. You know, he accomplished it. He saved her. He's like, you have no idea how happy he is that he's done it. And it's like, oh my god, Lois Lane. Is that why Lois is here? To throw a spear in the water? Why is she doing that? Just leave it. You know that she doesn't know about Doomsday yet. She knows there's a thing going in the Kryptonian ship. But she knows that that kryptonite weapon can kill Superman. So it makes no sense for her to get rid of it. I'm sorry. And here he is. And Superman is still like, I'm not gonna punish you. It's weird, but that's Superman, and this is really not well written. I don't hate the sinner, I hate the sin. This is like, that's where he feels like he's God. I get it, but it's not that well written for this state of madness he's right now. But I do like that, and I think the Doomsday thing worked. I'm just still don't get, and I can't accept it as a plot hole, because, like it or not, the movie doesn't have a lot of plot holes. It's very tight together. So I can't figure out how he cooked Doomsday without being sure that Superman would die. Because I guess if Superman died, he would stop the cooking. Of course he would, but I don't know how he would make sure that Superman was dead or alive. That still puzzles me. But I mean, it's a comic book movie. And he was born to destroy him. And people are like, how does he only fight... Why does Doomsday fight only Superman? This, by the way, is bad CGI according to people. This is incredibly grotesque and disgusting and real. It's weird. And he's created in the Genesis chamber. The Kryptonian people are created for a purpose. And the purpose of this guy is to kill Superman. Lex Luthor made him. And people are like, oh, and then why does he kill Lex Luthor? I don't think he was going to kill Lex Luthor. He was going to kill Batman, and he was going to kill Superman, and Lex Luthor was just on the way. But Superman, being the good guy, can't accept him destroying anything, nor killing. And people are like, why is he killing Superman? I mean, he's a monster. He was created to kill Superman. He was born to destroy him. And it does make sense. Now, people say that it's a plot hole, that if Doomsday killed Superman and survived, the world would be doomed. Yes, it would. And do you see where mentally Lex Luthor is now? It's like he doesn't give a shit. This is a way more satisfying action sequence than Batman v Superman, because it's less we are not on both sides in this case. It's incredibly well realized, and and here we go. Yep, he's there. Metropolis again with this stuff, and it's the Batman. Oh, that's a nice little scene. I can't believe they cut it. So we see, she's still inside it, and now that she'll see this guy's out there, okay, now I can't just ignore it. And I love that she decides she will go after him. Oh Jesus, Doomsday, stop it. And this power surges, he really consumes energy. And you see, he does he know where Superman is? I don't think he does. Now he's completely wild. And it's interesting, he doesn't know what to do. He's in the top of the building yelling until Superman shows up. And this is amazing. She's like, okay, I'll go. Here we go. Here's your target. Because really, Superman is the guy he's here for. It's really interesting here, they're really the government is really sharper this time, because they know what they can do. So they're like, okay, let's use our biggest weapon against it before another Metropolis disaster happen. and nuclear bombs is really the top thing you can do, we can have against this guy. So what do they do? Jump right to it, and it doesn't work. And it's really interesting because that's the proof. We need Superman, you know. And this movie, poor Snyder, he takes so little credit, but the guy has such a careful depiction of nature. You know, you just see the atmosphere. Do you see? He took this time here. It was not an explosion in space and then they come back. He takes this time, this melancholia time, where people is like, what is happening out there? Something big is happening, and the sky is shining right in the night, and people stop to see that just like they would in real life. And that's good to have in a superhero movie, and it's rare to have in a superhero movie. No life sign. But just like Doomsday, he can't be killed. It's moving. I did like that it wasn't populated, but I don't like them speaking all the time. Okay, we're not killing them, okay? This is disgusting. The bad CGI again. It's so bad that I'm feeling disgust. Come on, it's really well realized. This is amazing. And it's really disgusting. And again, not only getting nuked made him more powerful, falling by that distance made him even more. So it's not an easy task to kill him. We need Superman. Here we go. See what we're dealing with here? Some good quick thinking here. Well, let's hope, right? Because we still don't know where the fucking spear is. Because Lois got fucking rid of it. And it was not like it was for nothing. This is really good. It looks so bad and so good all of a sudden. It's really reassuring. And my sister, like, she's such a Superman fan. All of us, you know, she really liked Man of Steel. She was still clueless. This is amazing, by the way. Did you see how the camera did this? How she ran after it and saw the... This is amazing, and that's Snyder. I don't see it anywhere else. This is really him. And here we go. I love how the soundtrack is so loud. Because it's amazing. I don't know who designed, how adapted Wonder Woman's outfit for the movie, but let me tell you, they deserve a fucking medal. Her design was so poor. Oh my god, some stars, basically. Did you see that? He breaks, he crosses through the atmosphere. You hear the sound, you see the thunders. But the movie doesn't take time to show, oh, look at how Superman, what happens when Superman comes down. Snyder is so dynamic that he puts these little details, but he doesn't put like a spotlight on them. It really sucks that people pay no attention to that. That's the glory of a realistic Superman. And let's go, Lois. You made a mess. You go after it. Seems to be that energy. So, Wonder Woman's outfit was such a bullshit. I mean, it was so bad. I hated it. Red with blue panties with stars, and they managed to make it like this. Actually looked practical, Greek, an armor. Look at this. I mean, it's so. I mean, that's why I think DC deserves attention, because they adapt. They don't just put it on the screen, you know. This is real well done. Congratulations, Zach. That sucks to be a human, and it's nice that they put her there. These are really gods. They're no human. I like this slow motion, because that's the first time Wonder Woman's presented. Batman and Superman have been presented throughout the movie, but she's here now. They really work as a team, you know. She missed, but then Superman comes, and she lays space for him to come down. That's amazing. Oh, that looks like it hurts. And she's so... that's amazing. Look again. Look at the camera. How he comes to this. And you have no idea how difficult it must be to be made in CGI or in live action. The combination, of course. Again, he uses it here. This is amazing. Zack is an amazing action director. And it's nice that he put Lois here to give us this human dimension, how we couldn't do any of that, you know. These are superhumans. And Batman's the same thing. All he can do is run away. But he's still Batman, so... And again, my sister, she was like such a Superman fan after Man of Steel. And I really liked that. And seeing it through her eyes, I came to realize how great the movie is. How it puts... Oh man, this wasn't in the theatrical cut. And she was like, oh damn, he's good, when he realized Lois and came after her. Like, oh god damn it, he's good. And really, the Kryptonite, Krypton world, the technology, the culture, it's so well realized in that movie. I really underappreciated it in its time, but now I did. And in Batman v Superman, even though she was lost a bunch of times, there is still her Superman there, even though she, of course, was sad that of how the world treated him. Okay, Batman. I mean, don't look at me. And he can't do anything but run, but still, the Snyder makes a little bit, makes the best of what he have here. And he can't use his only kryptonite bullet because he has to wait for the perfect time. I really like this. I really like this. How Superman needs the help of a human to complete this, and to see her struggling to get him is so... It's really human, and it resonates with what Kryptonite does with him. Now we go to Wonder Woman's like unbelievable what she does here. Again, look at this camera. How the camera comes, and every detail is put in movement. It's amazing. I'm not sure about the smile though. And I like that she fails. She isn't like, oh my god, she's so successful. She does succeed, but she fails right after because she's so pissed. And you know, the thing with the smile, I'm not completely on board with Snyder's take on female characters. He's not like misogynistic or you know, mainly, but you always feel in his female characters that they were written by a guy or they were directed by a guy. You know, it's not like a girl would say, oh, she should smile after she was almost bitten. It's always a guy that's like, you know, it would be awesome. She got bitten, but she smiled. You know, that's the Snyder. I see that a lot of him, but I see a lot of respect for Wonder Woman, especially in what he does, in what she does here. And I really feel it wasn't good enough for the Superman's final moments. Didn't resonate perfectly, but when Amy Adams screamed "Clark," it really resonated. At that moment, I felt, oh, he's doing it, and she really likes him, and she really don't want to see him doing that. And my sister was really bummed at this. She didn't scream. She wasn't super fangirly over it, but she was like, you know. And I think it's a moment for Superman when he says, "This is my world." It's not completely. It doesn't resonate completely, but with Lois, it kind of does. You know, it's better on her side. But here, when we see him fallen, here we really see that he was Superman. You know, he was ready to go, and he did go. I really like the gloomness in the end, and I'm really pissed that very few people took it seriously. I really took, and I really enjoyed it. The real sadness and how, you know, the world only realizes what it had once it loses it, and it only gives value to something once it's gone. The soundtrack here works better. I love that Wonder Woman is and Batman are like, they're finally showing, recognizing how, and also they realize what he's done, but also what he was willing to do. I don't think Batman was there to die for humanity, and Wonder Woman wasn't there to die for humanity because they didn't jump to a sacrifice like he did. He did it willingly, you know. He wasn't killed. He really was. He knew that getting that close to the kryptonite would kill him, and he knew that dealing with the guy that strong while he's close to the kryptonite wouldn't do him any favors. But he did that. And I wish I don't know. I really want to see a hug like between Batman and Superman when Superman comes back and Batman really apologizing verbally for his misconception of him, because I still feel like he's really saddened by what happened, but it isn't apparent that he's like really respecting Superman now. In the funeral it's more clear. This scene is like, oh my, it's another scene that if my sister saw, I'll be like, never mind. Because it's simply too inside. And one problem is, it's in the lighting, it's in the special effects, guys. This isn't clear to me. I didn't know this was the Kryptonian technology of simply telling stories. Or, of course, a telephone, for instance. This is again Lex Luthor finding out more about the Kryptonians and more about aliens. I love this shot. It's the coloring, it should be more silver. It should show that it's not a real person. I thought it was a real character. They just showed up and then teleported. Completely lost. It simply didn't work. But if they just gave a little hint or gave the ship saying something, it would have made it more clear. But still, this is a bunch of characters we have no idea who are. We, like stupid people, non-comic book readers. So it's really just out of nowhere. But it's nice to see how Lex got arrested, but he was still in there finding about stuff and playing more stuff. You have no idea. He talked to aliens and called them to come to Earth. You see that in Justice League. I love this. I love this montage. It's really sad, and very few people were really sad because they didn't buy it. But if you do buy it, it's really meaningful of what Superman meant at this point, especially because he saved a lot of people, and he saved the world again against Doomsday, but this time he gave his own life. And the piano works here. Man, you need a helicopter to shoot this. Don't you? I don't know. I like how they are not. It's that Zack Snyder coldness to their characters. They're not broken down completely. They're just trying to be strong, and but they are very sad and melancholic. Again, if you don't buy the characters, this is ridiculous, but if you do like this Superman, this is really a gut punch. That's like, that poor guy, he loved you, Lois. And I like that she's not like desperate, she's like, yeah, he was gonna do it. The first time I watched it was very lost, and I guess the editing here makes it a little bit more clear, but especially in the theatrical version I was like so lost in the funeral, because I thought, again, because of that style of jumping to the future, now we're in real time, jumping to the past, now we're in real time, I was like, oh, this is the beginning and this is the end of the ceremony. I didn't take it as too different. That's a very big problem with the language of the movie, and that's the problem, is that I think that worked on Lex Luthor's monologue there with the governor asking for permission, but I don't think it worked in the end in the funeral, where they're like, go back to the funeral, go in the future with Batman is visiting Lex Luthor, go back to the present where there's the funeral, then go to the future where a bunch of shit happened. Anywho, all these cuts in different times is really difficult to follow. It makes for a cool clip direction, but it doesn't. It has to be very subtle and very single, like a single time in a movie. The Lex Luthor worked. In the end, made it a little bit convoluted. And that's why the funeral, the first time I watched it, was like, okay, he passed the prosecution, like, he passed through all the people from the world, then he came back to the farm. This is really nice. They're like connected, you know. It was not a one-time thing. They know their human outer egos. That's really nice for him to recognize that. What do you say we'll have to fight? By the way, a century of horrors. Yeah, I'm really curious about the Wonder Woman movie. Still worried because it's not this Wonder Woman, it's not a Wonder Woman. It's a young, it's a naive, it's a maturing story, so I'm not sure. I hope the action works. But it looks like it's gonna be so good. And you see, he has restored faith in people thanks to this, and so have the world, you know. And I love this message. I think it's very powerful. If you seek his monument, look around you, and the way, and it's always like this, you know. People only mourn, only value something after they lost it. Just the feeling. I don't like this feeling. I hate those visions. I really don't like it. But they're necessary if they want to really... I think they could just get some info from Lex and know that the future, there's doom in the future, and that's it. I really like this. But again, they cut to the future and then they're back at the funeral. Or the end, the burial. He senses that Batman is here, I guess. Poor Jesse, he doesn't look that great bald. He looked charming with the Lex Luthor here. You see, Batman is not that brutal anymore, and it's amazingly well. People did not pick up, including me in the first viewing, I suppose, that, I mean, it's really, he was there with the branding, metal, but he left that behind, you know. But you see, that's such a good destination. You see? See, he did not brand Lex Luthor. He's left branding behind. He's left the brutality behind. And Lex is completely unhinged here. He belongs to Arkham now. And this is people don't seem to get this ding ding ding, and I think it was not well directed. I think should have put a real bell and then cut to this with a real bell, because it wouldn't sound stupid, and it wouldn't make Jesse Eisenberg look stupid, even though he was actually trying to deliver, you know. And he did deliver, even though people simply don't get it. This ding 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 is the message to the aliens that are to come in the future, destroy Earth, and that's what Lex did. God knows why. You know, this guy's fucked up. I think he did it because he still thought Superman was gonna survive. I like it. They really gave it time to breathe. You know, now we can we are not that sad as we were at the funeral, and there's a little glimpse of hope here, and I love it. It's really subtle, and Snyder did it very well. Oh, well, guess we're done. Donezo. We're donezo. This movie is such a special case. You really need to have someone pumping you into it. I mean, the major audiences, there's a lot of people like me who watches it with and enjoys it throughout, just like I did. So there are still people who needs to be convinced, and people who needs to be guided to some stuff that they simply don't get or don't accept. And I can't argue with that, but I did give my input, and I hope you have enjoyed it. It's so interesting. I liked the movie a lot. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the characters, the intrigue, the mood, the adaptation of these characters, and the story overall. In this cut, what we get is such a more polished, because I love that it's more time. You know what? There's such a multitude of characters. That's why it's so long. It's a Game of Thrones of movies. They really have to give space to let it breathe, because they've put too much story in there. For a 3-hour long cut, was actually good enough. So we have all these little intrigues, all these little words. So to have a 3-hour movie for you to dive in and to experience, really, that's why Snyder, I think, is such a fan of long cuts, because it makes the audience really immerse, and it's probably how it works for him. He really goes into those worlds, and that's what this extended cut does. If you're willing to give Batman v Superman your time, your attention, and your dedication, this is a very rewarding cut, because there's so much story being told. We don't stop. The story is always in movement, and that makes it very enjoyable. So I love, this is definitely the cut that I'm gonna watch for the rest of my life. I'm never coming back to the theatrical cut. You know, and I'm becoming such a DC slut lately. I mean, I can't wait for Suicide Squad. I wasn't even into superhero movies, but DC, with its tone, with its individuality towards the movie, it's really winning me over. And I hope it doesn't lose me by trying to be too mainstream, because I think this is definitely not a movie made to be mainstream. It deals with mainstream subjects, like it's fucking Superman and Batman, but it didn't deal with them in a blockbustery way. It was a Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder brings philosophical and a certain deepness and weight and artistry, really, to pop culture. So and that's the problem. When Zack Snyder has to work by himself, creating stuff, well, it doesn't work very greatly. Sucker Punch, I'm gonna sucker punch him for Sucker Punch. But you see, when he has the material, he really dedicates himself, and that's what's great about him. He may not be a great creator, but he's a fantastic adaptator, and he is a fantastic director. So Zack Snyder, I forgive him for Sucker Punch, thanks to Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. And of course, Watchmen is a fantastic, transcendent superhero movie. So I think if you don't like it, I know it's hard to deal because you love the character, and it's a movie about him, and you don't like it. So I think you should make your voice be heard, like ethically. And you might be rewarded for that, you know. Thank you for watching this long stuff, and tell me what did you think of the movie, and I see you the next time I want to watch this.